Like a good neighbor, Space Ghost is there. I mean, come on, man. You wouldn't set up for ghost stories when there's Space Ghosts, right? Oh man, I got that stuck in my head so bad. The Bateman commercial. Jeez Louise, they played that like 200 times. It is literally maybe more than that. It is vibing right now, and I love it. But what's cool and what's going on? We got Space Ghost, and we are going to be going over his 4.0 mock draft final edition. You see through the cycle here, going back to November, January, March, and now here in April. April Fools? No, this is real. This is what's happening. So let's get into it. It's 2 rounds. You start off Cam Ward at the number 1 overall pick, consensus number 1 overall. And I think more than likely this one is in the books. It's the statue is there of Cam Ward. I'm excited. I think Cam Ward is worth this number 1 overall pick for the Titans. They got to get a quarterback. And he also has a second round selection over here to go over Luther Burden III. That is one of the biggest steals. I think Luther Burden is just, we're at this point with a lot of these guys where you over-evaluate and you look at these things and you're just like, you're finding ways to hate these prospects. Prospect fatigue is a serious thing. I think that would be awesome. You Cam Ward, your franchise, hopefully a franchise quarterback, knock on some, right? And then you get Luther Burden to be that wide receiver 1, or at least long-term wide receiver 1 with Calvin Ridley. And also, what is it, Van Jefferson they got right now, but they definitely need some more help in that wide receiver room. That's a good draft. I like that a lot for the Titans. And then on to the Browns. Oh, it's Travis Hunter. Juice is needed for the wide receiver and the cornerback room. And yeah, this is a pick that I would do if they're not going quarterback. Now, it leads me to believe that they're going to go quarterback just because Myles Garrett, you paid him. More than likely, he wants a quarterback coming in here to compete, to win a championship. It would make sense. Maybe they trade back up into the first round and go select like a Jackson Dart or whoever they're high on, right? That's a possibility, or Will Howard in the second round. There are options, but, once again, Shedeur Sanders would be a plug-and-play starter that I think could take this team to the playoffs. So that's the big conversation here. This is what I struggle with so much, is like, what the heck are they? I don't know, man. It really is tough. Do you reach maybe a little bit on quarterback comparative to a Travis Hunter, who to me is a generational type prospect? I see him in that regard. I have him as my number 1 player in the draft class, and they could use help at wide receiver to pair along with Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman, and then a cornerback. I mean, Martin Emerson, Newsome, absolutely can add more competition in that room for sure. And then you get Josh Simmons in the second round. Okay. So Simmons could play guard too for this football team, like DeJuan Jones, Cornelius Lucas, Jack Conklin. That's their their tackle room right now. And with the injuries that they've had, they certainly could still use another player in there long-term. Jack Conklin's on 1 year left on his contract. They reworked that deal to give him more money up front, but it's only a 1 year deal now. So they could use Josh Simmons for the long haul at tackle, work him in, maybe put him at guard at one of those positions, even though you do have Joe Petonio back and Wyatt Teller at least is there for now. But they could trade Wyatt Teller very easily before the season begins. So it wouldn't shock me in that regard either. So Simmons could play. They could find a way to get him out there. I'd love that one just for the future pick of a tackle. Oh, we got a trade here. The Bears are coming up. Oh, what? Oh my gosh. I've not seen this one at all. Abdul Carter to the Bears. Woo! Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're the Bears. You don't have really any huge voids on this roster. You have draft capital. Why not go get like your Will Anderson for the Houston Texans sort of comparison here? And that's what this is. You're basically just saying, we're playing with house money at this point. Let's move up. Let's go get a top-tier edge rusher. You get Montez Sweat, and you have yourself an insane duo. Obviously, Adeo Odengwu, who they signed in free agency. You got Austin Booker. Like, that would be your 4 duo. But I'm down with this one, man. Like, I have no problem with this. They signed Deo Odengwu. You got Montez Sweat. I have no problem with getting Abdul Carter. You can work it in. Deo Odengwu can play on inside on pass rushing downs. No problem about that. But this is an underrated move. I like it. As long as it's not like giving up too much draft capital, I would say, as long as it's within reason. Okay. I'm cool with this one. I really am. Oh, wow. That was wow. Jeanty. Oh, my goodness. Whew, you got me popping out of here. I had to go get a water break. My voice, like, oh, my gosh, dude, that was insane. This is an insane pick, and in a good way. Like, I've not seen this one. Ashton, Jeanty, the New England Patriots, they could use a running back. Like, no matter what. I'm not saying running back's a first-round need for them, but at the same time, they're going to need to draft a running back at some point here because they need more competition. Ramondre Stevenson coming off a rough season, fumble issues are a big thing, and I just feel like he took a major step back to overall in his game with his vision. Their offensive line, though, was a mess. If you improve the offensive line, you add in some more help there, like I think he can bounce back. You have Antonio Gibson, who was their best runner this season, good receiving back as well. But Jeanty would be a clear upgrade, right? Like Jeanty, no doubt about it. And just with the allocation and the money, you can get out of Ramondre Stevenson's contract next year. It just seems like a little bit of a waste in that regard. They do get Ariante Ershby in the second round. So you build an insane run-blocking offensive line. You got Ershby to start at left tackle right away. Jeanty, Stevenson, Gibson is your dynamic, Batman and Robin and Batgirl situation over here, I guess. And I mean, you got a little bit of everything. You got the whole crew out there. You got the Justice League, I guess. But definitely an interesting pick here. I'm still wondering about this one. I don't think it's whether I think they either go tackle or they just go Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter in the actual draft. But that's a very unique pick, and I got to give you credit for that one. To the Jacksonville Jaguars here, and this is a Space Ghost move. I mean, if he's a Jaguars fan, he loves Tetairoa McMillan. I love Aaron McMillan is dope, and you can tell he's mocked him 3 times in a row. He is a good football player and somebody that would just lift this offense. Like, this would be the Mike Evans for Liam Cohen here. You got Brian Thomas, Tetairoa McMillan. Yeah, you brought in some guys, whatnot. I do think that when you're looking at this thing and Diami Brown, what he brings to the table, he could be another deep threat for Trevor Lawrence, who's one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. But McMillan would be the chain mover. Like, he would help Trevor Lawrence in the short to intermediate phases of the game and the contested catch point. Like, they don't really have the contested catch guy on this roster right now. So I like the fit and the scheme fit as well. Like, I think from that standpoint, it's amazing. Is a little bit of a luxury pick. Gabe Davis, though, like, that doesn't instill a whole ton of confidence. Possibly a little bit of a luxury pick. You have at least a number 1 wide receiver, in my opinion. Brian Thomas is a number 1 wide receiver. So that's the thing here. Defensive tackle Mason Graham, I think, will ultimately be the pick in the draft just because, like, I think he's best available at this point. McMillan, you can make the argument too. I just think McMillan, it depends on how you view it. Really good football player, very good pick. You do get Omar Norman Lott in the second round, though. So at least you're getting some more defense tackle help in this regard to improve the defense line. They just need depth, too, on that defense line. Shedeur Sanders, here we go. Woo! I do struggle taking a quarterback for the Raiders now they got Geno Smith because, in a way, they spent a draft pick on me. They spent their 3rd-round pick on it. So getting Shedeur Sanders, I'm not ruling it out completely. No way, because quarterback is definitely still something you got to consider for this team. But for me, I like just giving Geno Smith an extension. He's a good quarterback. People underrate Geno Smith. And this team needs a lot of help. Like, you got running back, wide receiver, offensive line. Defensive line depth is a serious need. Linebacker, cornerback, like you name it. Like, they have like over 50% of their roster that could be in flux over this next year. Like, they have multitude of needs. And that's the only reason why I hesitate towards this pick. I like Shedeur in Vegas, and I do think it'd be a fun pick. Just, I have other needs for them personally. That's where I'm at. A lot of people still think quarterback, though, huge need, and I can get that too. And then you get Quishon Judkins in the second round. Okay, you get running back there. Judkins a really good player, and whether it's, Travion Henderson or, an Amarian Hampton if he falls there, which who knows, I don't know how many running backs can go in the first round. There might be a couple, but definitely a good pick for them in the second round to get that bell cow. And then we go on to Armin Membu. This is the pick for me as well. I love it. I really do. Get bookend tackles. I've been dreaming of bookend tackles for quite the minute. As a Jets fan, get Armin Membu as at right tackle. That solidifies our young core for hopefully the long term. Fashanu and Mbu as bookends. I'm liking that for sure. And then you get Jaden Higgins in the second round. Okay. I'm not seeing that one actually for the Jets. Jaden Higgins, I'm a little lower on Jaden Higgins. I know some people are, I like Higgins, don't get me wrong. I think he's going to be a nice little like vertical hybrid slot player for some teams and whatnot. Like, he's got explosiveness, I'll tell you right now. Like, he blows by corners. Still worry about his separation ability and his overall like lateral movement skills to get in and out, like his explosion in and out of breaks. But he's going to be a big catch player. So he'll be that long-term like Allen Lazard player for them. And it would make sense, right? So I could see them going after somebody like that. I could also see them going after somebody with some speed, like an Isaiah Bond, on day 2. The Carolina Panthers, they go Mason Graham. Okay, all right, I'm down with this one. Mason Graham's just kind of a best available at this point. I mean, I do think they've got other needs such as edge. I mean, you got Tayshaun Wharton now that they added in to go along with Derek Brown. They've got some guys on that interior, so you guys still got Settle. So it's maybe not the biggest need, at least right now. I think edge rusher, like I said, or even tight end. I wouldn't be shocked if they go Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland here, or if they like trade it back, for example. In this case scenario, there's going to be teams calling for Mason Graham. I'll tell you that right now. So that's really on the table. They get Trey Harris in the second round, so they do add a playmaker here. with Trey Harris. I don't mind that for sure. You can add, I mean, I would like to add more of a like a shifty type of receiver into the room. That's the only thing I would say to that pick. And Harris is a good player, though. I will say Trey Harris, good player. Just would be looking to more like a, in terms of first round, like Luther Burden. If they trade back, go get Luther Burden. Oh man, that would be insane, right? Oh man, I'd be down with that. Or Matthew Golden too would be cool. On to the New Orleans Saints. Jahad Campbell, new leader of the defense. They get Ben Morrison in the second round. Oh, that's a huge steal. You get Cool McKinstry last year in the second round. Now you get Ben Morrison in the second round. That's insane. I like this draft's fun. This is a fun draft. I love this one for Nola. Jahad Campbell's a beast, man. He is an absolute beast. And Pete Warner, Demario Davis obviously getting a little bit older now. So Campbell would be that third linebacker early on. And they get him on the field. Like he can play in a multitude of roles. He can rush the passer. They need an edge rusher too. And expect Brandon Staley to move to more his 3-4 defense. Campbell can rush the passer. Like they'll utilize Campbell as a pass rusher. So I think he'd be a good scheme fit for Brandon Staley in that new defense. I like the pick. I like those two picks. Great two picks. Will Campbell here to the Giants after trading back, rebuilding O-line for a future quarterback. And your hope is that Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, you can figure it out. I like this move, though. Will Campbell, you put him at one of those guard positions opposite of John Runyon. And Greg Van Roten can be a good depth piece. And you're booming, man. That's a good pick. It really is. And then, okay, we get Jackson Dart and Donovan Jackson. Remember, a trade back. So they get Jackson Dart as their future quarterback. Add some youth in there. And Donovan Jackson double dipping the O-line. I actually really don't hate that idea. They have so many offensive line issues through these past several seasons. Now it feels like the same thing with the Jets, of course. But I will say that Donovan Jackson could play tackle too. Like he could be the long-term right tackle. Will Campbell could be the long-term right tackle for Jermaine Illuminor. And remember, another thing too, Will Campbell has played right tackle in high school. So he's got experience there if they wanted to do that. Andrew Thomas is dealt with a lot of injuries. So having a swing tackle like a Donovan Jackson, Will Campbell would help out this. One of those guys would play guard for the long haul. One of them would play tackle, I would imagine, for the long haul. Defense tackle, also an area I think that they need to look at next to Sexy Dexy. But at the same time, that's a fun pick. All three of those ones. Very, very interesting moves for the Giants. A good draft haul. I think it's a good draft haul. 49ers, they go ahead and get Kelvin Banks Jr. Need to improve their offensive line. Like they've been kind of avoiding it now for quite a minute. I think now the only question I would have here is, do you feel confident in Kelvin Banks moving to that right tackle position? He hasn't done it. So that's really my only pushback on this one. But Banks is a great player and somebody that you at least improve your offense line somehow, some way. And maybe in this case scenario, you move him inside the left guard right away, right? And then Dominic Pooney at right guard. Definitely a possibility for them. I could see that too. You get Derek Harmon in the second round. Great pick. They got to improve the defense tackle position. Like Jordan Elliott right now. You got Evan Anderson. It's thin. I mean, I'm blanking on like one other player. Is Collie Davis still there? Like they're thin. Like no matter what, you got to improve the defense tackle position. Derek Harmon in the second round is a major steal. I love that pick. Actually, I'd take him in the first round. I consider taking that in the first round. So great draft there for the 49ers. A+. Taylor Warren. It's a Cowboys move. It's a total Cowboys move. The only thing, maybe they should go ahead and take Colson Love, go with another Michigan. I'm sure Cowboys fans like, oh no. But no, Tyler Warren, man, you talk about adding a beastly tight end, jack of all trades player. I do think the wide receiver would be the bigger need of the two. Hopefully, Schoonmaker can make another step in his game. They still have Jake Ferguson under contract, but a utility knife for Dak. They do need more weapons here on this offense. So, hey, I mean, he's best available. You can make the argument of that very easily, too. And you got Darius Alexander in the second round. Yeah, that would be pretty crazy. Him and Osa Digizua next to each other. That would be pass first for days. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So, I mean, run defense, you can always pick up a run defender later in the draft, too, like early down situations. Alexander's not a bad run defender either. Like, he's going to be so explosive. He's going to make plays in the backfield. Allow your linebackers to make plays too. Hey, I don't mind that pick. I really don't. First round, and I push back a little bit. I'd go for more of an outside wide receiver. Like that's kind of what I'm looking for there. But Warren is an exceptional football player. On to the Miami Dolphins here. This is a pick I totally think is going to happen in the actual draft. Will Johnson, Jahdae Barron, like somebody, they got to improve their secondary. Clearly, you need somebody opposite Jalen Ramsey. They got to get younger, too. So whether or not Cam Smith is able to step up and be a starter, you got Storm Duck. Like, they need to add an outside cornerback in here. Clear need. And then they double dip, add a safety in Xavier Watts, another clear option for them to continue to upgrade this secondary. So you double dip, very much in the cards. Like, You got offensive line, still needs to be taken care of. I think they need to fill a guard spot, defensive tackle, possibly long haul. But that's something you could look at like round 3, round 4 very easily, especially in the depth in this draft class. Overall, like those 2 picks, I really like them. I mean, that would be an insane duo secondary to maybe like a Cooper DeJean and also Quinnion Mitchell type of draft, in many ways. And then on the Indianapolis Colts, Shamar Stewart, a flawless raw score. I mean, yes, he is an elite athlete, no doubt about it. What? Oh my goodness. So if you haven't, I mean, Deo Dengbo, they lost Deo Dengbo. So could they use more pass rush? Absolutely. This is a sneaky option for them. I totally understand that. Kwity Paye, I still think he is going to be a guy that they end up paying, and he's going to get better. I think he's going to continue to get better. He's one of those guys that I think is going to progress with age, and he's a solid player right now. It's not like he's a bad football player. So you got Kwity Paye, you got Latu, you still got Taquan Lewis there. Their pass rush could use a little more depth, though. I think a day 2 pick makes a lot of sense, but if you're saying to yourself, well, we love Shamar Stewart, we're going to go ahead and improve the pass rush some more, and Stewart can also put a little inside out. He gives you some versatility there. Very interesting for Lou Amarunu's new defense. That's another thing. This would be a good scheme fit because Lou plays a lot of 3-4. Like he'll do a lot of base 3-4 looks, and Shamar can play up at 5 tech for this team. So that's why I'm actually on board with this pick. I really am. This could be a very underrated pick for this football team. They could use a guy like Shamar Stewart, and that's something Lou Anarumo might look at. And they get Wyatt Millam in the second round. Love that. Love it. That would be a replacement for Will Fries. You stick him right away at the right guard position. I think he'll be a excellent ad and going to be a nice power, gap, hunger, run blocking machine there, and a good pass protector too. And then off to the Atlanta Falcons here. They go with Jalen Walker. They get themselves a dynamic pass rusher, edge rusher, hybrid linebacker, whatever you want to call him. The only thing I would say, Jeff Albridge being the new defensive coordinator, is going to play more of a 4-3 style of defense. Would Walker really fit that? Is he a hand in the dirt guy? No, and that's why I would lean towards more like a Mikael Williams in this scenario. But Walker is, definitely a good football player, and they could use him. I mean, he's going to be an excellent pass rusher. Like, no matter what, they need to add a pass rusher. Like, that's clearly the need. And you get Siobhan Rebel in the second round. I don't mind that one either. Like, they could improve the secondary. They really failed to improve the secondary in this offseason, so it wouldn't shock me if they add a cornerback at some point in this draft. Like, they need to improve that. This is another team that I think could really benefit from trading back and a little extra draft capital in that mid-round range. So keep an eye on that, too, for this team. But definitely add that pass rush. And you go Matthew Golden. Okay, I'm down with this one. I think Matthew Golden a sneaky need for this team. They need that route runner type, right? They could use a slot guy, too. Matthew Golden very much would be a nice combination with Maserati Marv and Michael Wilson on the outside. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not against this one. Speed that will open up into the run game. You get Josh Connolly Jr. in the second round, especially if Jonah Williams, the injury thing, is definitely a concern for me, and I'm sure it's a concern for them. So getting a guy that can develop into the long-term right tackle to pair along with Paris Johnson Jr., don't mind that. You got the 2 juniors out there at tackle, bookend tackles. And then you go, Christian Jones maybe could be the long-term answer too. We'll see. Anyway, you go on to Jahdae Barron for the Cincinnati Bengals. They give themselves some more versatility in the cornerback room. He could literally play in the nose tackle, not in the nose tackle position, but in the nickel position. He could play at safety, he could play outside corner, and certainly they need to consider. I struggle with the Bengals. I do think pass rush is the way that I lean. I do think an edge rusher is an area that they need to go after here, or even offensive guard. But at the same time, they need to improve their secondary some more. It's been a big time problem for them. And then you got Tyler Williams in the second round. I mean, that's just a value pick. And they could always use more help. I mean, you got B.J. Hill. You got Tadaro Slayton now is going to help them out in the run game. You got Chris Jenkins, McKinley Jackson. Both of those guys heading into year 2. But Tyler Williams would definitely be a long-term pairing with those guys. It'd be nice. I'm down with that. Tyler Williams is a good football player. I do think edge is probably the bigger need, though, in my eyes. I think defense tackle, you can find some more depth on day 3 at this point. But definitely not. Don't hate that one. The value is excellent on Tyler Williams. And then you go on to Seattle Seahawks. Oh, shocking. It's Gray Zabel is a great pick. Jack of all trades. Exactly what they need on their offensive line. They need somebody that could play in a multitude of positions on that interior because, there's a lot of possible voids. Zabel, so dominant at the Senior Bowl. His film's excellent and going to be an excellent ad for them. I can't say excellent enough because that's an excellent ad. And then you got on day 2, more offense. Woo! They're going all offense out here for Sam Darnold. You get Alec Ayumana, another vertical outside threat for them, who's a sneaky route runner that can continue to improve his game in the intermediate levels. And you got Mason Taylor, the tight end, who's going to be a nice little intermediate player for them and short intermediate target for Sam Darnold to continue to upgrade that tight end room. So you have that long-term pairing with A.J. Barner. I'm okay with that too, because look, Noah Fant on the last year of his contract, I don't know if they're going to bring him back or not. Mason Taylor would be a great 1-2 punch there with A.J. Barner. So I can get down with that one. It's kind of like you're saying to yourself, look, we're looking to the future with this one. I do think defensive line, like they're going to add some more edge rush, though. That would be my one knock here, is adding some more pass rush, maybe another corner as well. Like those are two areas that I could see on day 2 them addressing for sure. And maybe go after a wide receiver. Since you got Cooper Kupp under contract, maybe that's something in round 3 you look at. But they've got a lot of picks, remember. They got 2 third rounders as well. And they go on to Emeka Egbuka for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, this is just like adding on riches, man. You get Chris Godwin apparent. Now, I do think that McMillan can, already be their heir apparent there. However, Emeka Egbuka, you put him in the slot. McMillan can, shown to play on the outside. You got Mike Evans. That's a great wide receiving room, and getting some more youth into there as well. And they got Kyle Kennard in the second round. Get some more pass rush. I'm down with that one, right? You brought in Hassan Reddick, but they could still use more pass rush, more defensive lineup. Like the depth there, definitely a question mark. Safety also could be an area that they look at. Definitely keep an eye on that, or more cornerback help. So they did bring in somebody. I know they just brought in, Kendall Vildor, I believe they brought in as some more depth right away. But long term, they definitely could use someone. And Jamel Dean's been a little injured, banged up, and that's somebody they can move on from after this season if injuries continue to arise. And then we go on to the Denver Broncos. They get Amari and Hampton in the first round, Azaria Thomas in the second round. Running back, clear need. Like it's something they have to address. Whether it's first, second, third round, they have to add a running back in here. Hampton, very good football player, and the way it seems like, I think he's going to go in the first round. And then Azaria Thomas. Woo! Okay, yeah, more competition for Riley Moss. I mean, Moss is pretty good this season. Is it a top need for them? No. But at the same time, like Riley Moss can move inside to the slot, and then Thomas and Surtain could be your outside cornerbacks. So I'm not against that. I'm not. I think that's just BPA too. Like Azaria Thomas, I would take him in the first round. And then on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're going Nick Emmanwari. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is one I have not seen at all. Personally, I don't think this is really a need for them, but I mean, if you think about the long term, Minkah Fitzpatrick's getting a little bit older now. He's getting expensive. And if he has another down year, maybe they move on from him. So, yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. I'm not going to rule this out. Deshaun Elliott's going in last year of his contract. He's played really well, though. You brought in Juan Thornhill. It's not a need right now, but they could use Emmanwari as like a hybrid linebacker, I guess, even though they're really good at linebacker. So I'm just trying to struggle myself into figuring how they're going to play Nick Emmanwari right away, because they've got so many guys. But I would imagine that they would trade Minkah Fitzpatrick. Like, if they're going to draft Nick Emmanwari, they're going to have to trade Minkah Fitzpatrick or Deshaun Elliott. Like, they're going to have to do something here so that way they can get Nick Emmanwari out on the football field. I do think that your defensive line still, they need some depth on that defensive line. They did bring in Daniel Ekuel, but still, like, they need to add some more pass rush, Equale onto that defensive line. So that, to me, is something they could look at. I still think that they could add some more help on their offensive line, but maybe not a first-round need there. So that's kind of where a running back could be a sneaky first-round need for them, too. Don't be surprised about that. Quarterback, we'll see what happens if Aaron Rodgers continues to hostage their way into that. I don't know, man. This could be another Jackson Dart scenario for them. On to the Bolts. They're going Donovan Ezeraku and Carson Swessinger. Okay, more pass rush. I think defensive interior and defensive line just in general are the top needs for this football team. So it makes sense to get Ezeraku or like a Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon. Like, they need to improve their defensive line. Like, that to me is their number one need. They've improved their offensive line in free agency. They've gone out. Andre James, going to be a big addition for them at the center position. So I fully expect them to address the defensive line early in this draft. And then linebacker, it is a sneaky need. I mean, I think they'll be okay, but it is something they definitely could look at there. So I'm not against that pick. Swissinger's a really good football player too. He's an underrated guy. On the Green Bay Packers, they had a quarterback in here, Troy Amos, and you got Jalen Royals, had a weapon in here. I think they're going to go defensive line. I really do. I think they're going to be looking at pass rush. In both edge rush and interior defense line are areas that, like, I would be looking at tremendously. Now, Trey Amos, definitely going to be an upgrade in their secondary. However, they brought some guys in here, and between Nate Hobbs, maybe he plays on the outside this season. Like, he can play on the outside. Injuries are a little bit of concern. You got Jay Alexander still under contract there. You got Keyshawn Nixon under contract. Could you use an upgrade? Absolutely. I feel like it's a little bit high for Trey Amos, and that's why I'd lean towards more of like a Derek Harmon or, a Mikael Williams, or yeah, Mikael Williams at this point, adding another pass rusher somewhere on their defense line. Kenny Clark could be going to last year. He is a guy that they could move on from this next season. Hey, Rashawn Gary could even be a guy that they move on from this offseason if they wanted to get cheaper at the edge position. So that's why I'm leaning towards more of the defensive line for the Packers, at least at this moment. And then maybe add some secondary help in the second round. And Jalen Royals will be a fun addition. Add some more help in the wide receiving room, like they need to do that. I can see them adding more of like a big speed type of receiver, though. I could definitely see something like that. Maybe like a Savion Williams with his upside. I could see the Packers going after somebody like that, too. Anyway, Jalen Royals, nice be addition for them. On to the Minnesota Vikings. Skull, skull, skull. They go ahead and get themselves a safety and Malachi Starks. You're like, oh no, Georgia safety. Uh-oh. No, dude, this is a different situation. And Malachi Starks also gives you so much versatility. They could rock him in the slot if they wanted to early on, right? Obviously Harrison Smith's coming back for the season. There's a good chance that I think Theo Jackson's going to start for them, and they feel good about that. And I don't blame them. Like, Theo Jackson's got a lot of talent there. So those would be your two starters at safety in the back end. Then Starks could play in the slot. You go with Rodgers and Murphy on the outside. Hey, that's an option for them. Like, they have to improve the secondary no matter what, whether it's an outside cornerback or a safety long-term wise. Like, those are all options on the table. Harrison Smith, this might be the last year that he, plays before he retires. So that's definitely all on the table. They need to improve the secondary. Chess piece for Brian Flores. And then we go on to Walter Nolan, every down D lineman. They also get Tate Ratledge in the second round. Okay, improve their offensive line there. Tate Ratledge, try-trued. Maybe a little bit, a guy that just like you feel like may not have the elite upside, but he's he's going to be a plug and play, really good starter that I just think is going to be a top 25 guard in the NFL. And they need to improve their offensive line for the future. Walter Nolan, though, going back to this first round selection, I like this move, right? They brought in some guys. You still have Mario Edwards, who's the only guy actually who's under contract after this next season. Sheldon Rankins, good football player, has familiarity there and whatnot, but I do think, like, long haul, they need to improve the defense line. This is a early need in the draft. And another weapon, too. I could see them adding somebody else, like another Z option, into this wide receiving room, so I wouldn't be shocked about that, too. But, yeah, I like the Walter Nolan pick a lot. I think that'd be a really good move for them. And on to the Los Angeles Rams. Woo! Colston Loveland. Let's go. I'm loving this pick. Look, if Loveland falls to this point for the Rams, I think this is a no-brainer, actually. I know they got other needs, right? I still think, like, adding in another cornerback is something they have to look at. But, their defensive line is thin right now at the edge position, right? So I wouldn't be shocked if they try to improve the edge position here and go with, like, a Mikael Williams, who I believe is still on the board right now. So, yeah, I could totally see that. But Loveland would be such a fun pick. Like Tyler Higbee, at this point, they might need to think about that long haul. He's been, injuries, good football player, just injuries have really caught up. And then you look at Colby Parkinson, hasn't quite worked. He was good at the beginning of the season, kind of settled off there a little bit. Maybe he continued to elevate. Same thing with David Allen. Loveland would be a huge upgrade. That would be insane what Sean McVay could do with Loveland. And he'll play 12 personnel. Heck yeah, he'll put 2 tight ends out there if he wants. He'll get creative with it. I have no problem with that pick at all. And then we go on to Mikael Williams. So speaking of Mikael Williams, they also get Marcus Bowen in the second round. Oh, I like that one a lot. You can move him inside the guard if they want. You put him with Fala Lele. Like, that's a combination right there. Bo and then Fala Lele. Woo! I like that too. Your athleticism, you got your power there. 2, power match guys. And you got Mikael Williams in the first round. Add some more pass rush. Now, I do think interior is more of the play here for them in terms of, like, what do I think that they need to do? I think that the interior needs more help than the edge position. Like, they need a pass rusher on that interior that can take some more eyes off of Nnamdi Metabuke. Like, that to me, Mikael Williams can play a little 5-tech, right? He played 4-eye, played nose even at times with Georgia this season. So it's definitely in the cards. Offensive line, interior defense line, like, those are my top 2 priorities. And on to the Detroit Lions. Oh my goodness. James Pierce Jr. falls to them. This is a no-brainer. Like, this is one of those you're working everything up that you can. You're saying, oh, James Pierce Jr., he's he doesn't clip his toenails, so he should fall down the boards. He's got personality issues. Who doesn't clip their toenails? He picks his nose on Sundays. Nah, I don't know. Like, come up with something wild if you're Detroit. If he falls to 28, this is a no-brainer situation. You pair him up with Aiden Hutchinson. I'm scared. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like Marcus Davenport, they re-signed him on the cheap. You got Trevor Nowalski, who's like a hybrid Sam linebacker. you get James Pierce Jr., like, that would be awesome. And then Johnny Salvanaya in the second round, I like that pick too. Get another guard. They still need more help. Like, Graham Glasgow has struggled a little bit. Maybe it's more of a swing man. That would be great at this point in his career. Chris Mahogany is one of your starters at right guard, maybe. Yeah, I'm liking that. I think that would be really good. Or, I mean, Mahogany can play left guard. Salvanaya can play right guard. They'd figure that out. I think that's a really good draft for the Lions. One of my favorite combinations of drafts so far. On to Mike. Oh, my gosh. Mike Green's on the board. Oh, this is another A-plus move. A-plus. I cannot say how much I love this pick. Mike Green at 29, you're running the table. Once again, if you can hype up those personality issues, Dan Quinn. Oh, what a great pick. And then you get Caleb Johnson. Okay, sneaky area of upgrade for this team. Like, I think that's a spot that they will be adding to in the draft, whether it's day 2, early day 3. I fully expect them to draft a running back. It was a problem for them this season. Like, Austin Eckler at this point in his career is more of a, he's always been a kind of a receiving back. He's change of pace guy. Brian Thomas, you could upgrade there. Like, it is an upgrade. I still like Brian Robinson, not Brian Thomas. Oh, Brian Thomas is a beast. And Brian Robinson's a beast too. And they just could use another running back though. And I think Caleb Johnson will be a great add. And then we go on to the Buffalo Bills. Kenneth Grant, more defensive line. They are missing like that true nose tackle in the room. And at least for the future, like adding that guy would make a lot of sense. So I'm down with this pick. I think that's a really good pick. And then getting a cornerback on day 2, Maxwell Harrison would be a nice add for them. Like, they need to add a cornerback. Like, I think that's their biggest need on the roster right now. So Maxwell Harrison would fit that void. You get Isaiah Bond. You get some more speed. Isaiah Bond. I like that one too. Thinks heavy thoughts. Ooh, okay. I like the little phrase right there. But that's a really nice haul for the Bills. I think it's pretty dang. Yeah, I like that one. Up to Kansas City Chiefs, and they go Tyler Booker. Oh, adding another offensive line. See, I struggle with this one because, like, right now, I don't know what the heck they're going to do. You got Jalen Moore. I think he is going to be penciled in as the starter with his money and everything like that. So I don't see them trying to draft a replacement there. Now, left guard, it is open to interpretation right now. Kingsley Suamataia, Mike Caliendo, maybe even Wanya Morris compete for that left guard position, maybe? Who knows? Like, that's, at this moment, that's what I'm thinking. So Tyler Booker would be like, hey, we don't feel confident about that. We're going to go ahead and address it. That would be the sort of, like, if they're not feeling good about that, then Tyler Booker would be the ad for sure. You got to protect Patrick Mahomes. It just comes down to how do they feel about their offensive line going into next season. But Booker, Humphrey, and Smith, yeah, that would be an insane. Oh my, yeah, just that would be one of the most power hunger offensive lines in the NFL. It'd be up there with the Eagles. I'll tell you that right now. Landon Jackson in the second round, and more passers. Their interior defensive line also needs some more help too. So, I mean, Jerry Tillery's not going to stop me from drafting another interior defensive lineman. And then on to the final pick of the mock draft. Nick Scorden. I'm scoring over this pick. Woo! Let's go. Scoring's a great football player. Now, I will say, in Vic Fangio's scheme, would he be a true edge rusher? Probably not, okay? Because he's not a guy that I see envisioning dropping back into coverage a whole ton or anything like that. And that's okay, right? I mean, they didn't drop their guys tons, and they can work with their scheme. Vic Fangio's, he's versatile, right? He's gonna work to their personnel. He'll work within his scheme on that. Scorton would be a guy, though, that would be competing with, like, Moro Ojimo on that interior defensive line, especially on early, like a nickel packages, okay? Like, in nickel packages, he played more of a base end. And then on early, like 3-4 looks, they're going to be putting him as like a 5 tech. Like, that's what I see with Nick Scorden. So it just depends on what they're going to do. They could get Scorden out there. And you know Howie Roseman, especially if like Malachi Starks, Nicky Manwari are off the board, then, which I think safety is certainly going to be in play for them. They need to find a starter opposite. I get some from New York now, Boston, who knows? But they need to find a starter opposite of Reed Blankenship. So whether they feel confident or Sidney Brown can start, that's going to be something I'm just not sure at right now, and I wouldn't feel confident in. So I think safety is definitely a high priority. Hey, they could even use another corner maybe, and they brought in Adoree Jackson. That's not really a long-term thing. So maybe they get another cornerback here as well. Maybe a Benjamin Morrison would still be on the board. That would be insane if they get Ben Morrison too. But anyway, that's going to do it here for the Space Ghost 2-round mock draft. Woo! Let me know what you think. Agree or disagree. Thank you so much, Space Ghost, for a great mock draft season. I mean, he's always got unique takes. You can love him or hate him, but I love him, and I love the fact that he always throws out these takes where I'm thinking about it. And yes, there's some that I don't like, but there are some that I really do like, and it opens my mind some more. And that's why I do these in general. Anyway, hope you guys have a really good day, and I'll talk to you later.